Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time today. We're going to talk about a very interesting topic, a topic that a lot of people have confusion on. Which oil should we use for Indian cooking? So we're going to break it down because right now the market has cold-pressed oils, wood-churned oils, refined oils. Some of them are expensive, some of them are cheap. We make the mistake of all of us, including myself, for the longest time, we take the cheapest oils, which are refined. And then we don't understand how it's leading to chronic disease over time because of inflammation. So do we have to make changes? Absolutely yes. If we're looking at saving a little bit of oil or money here and there for oil, at some point in your life, you'll probably spend that saved money on inflammatory diseases and conditions. So today we managed to get time from Deepika, who's the Chief Nutrition Officer, and she works with patients around the globe, helping them with cancer, diabetes, and other different diseases. Deepika, thank you for joining us today. Let's get straight into it. So why are we, why is there so much a buzz about cold pressed oils, wood churned oils versus the refined oils? Because number one, they cost more money. But number two, the amount of health benefits coming out of it and the whole focus on refined oils linked to heart disease, inflammatory conditions. Can you take us through that, please, Deepika?
Thanks for the question, Luke, and good afternoon, everyone. So before we go ahead on why there is a buzz around cold pressed oil, I would also like to discuss on what exactly is cold pressed oil or unrefined oil or refined oil. So we start with organic oil. Now, organic oil is any oil that is grown naturally without any help of pesticides. So it is grown in farms with natural traditional methods without any pesticides. Then it comes to extra virgin or virgin oil. Now, extra virgin and virgin oil is almost same. It's just that a selling gimmick wherein you name it as extra virgin and it becomes a little more expensive and fancy. But they both are almost similar. Extra virgin or virgin oil is where no chemicals or extreme heat is applied to the oil for its extraction. Now we come to raw or unrefined oil. Now, this oil specifically is in complete raw form. That means it is untreated with any chemical or solvent, but it can be processed with little amount of heat required for extraction. And then comes the cold pressed oil. Cold press means this is the oil wherein no solvent, no chemical, and not even heat is applied for its extraction. So it is in pure form. All the nutrients are intact into it, and we get maximum benefit out of it. Now, when we talk about unrefined oil, one is it is definitely extracted at high heat. Second, solvent or different chemicals are used. That means it leaches out all the nutritional value from the oil, and then it becomes more of inflammatory in nature. The antioxidant benefits from the oil is almost leached out during the process of extracting the oil with the help of solvent or chemical, and that's why it becomes hazardous for our health. So if you're having refined oil, one, it is devoid of nutrients. Second, it is highly inflammatory in nature. So if your body is already inflamed, it is just going to add on to the inflammation even more. And it also puts you at a risk of heart disease. So it's better to avoid refined oil. Your first preference when it comes to oil should always be organic, virgin, cold pressed oil. So organic, virgin, cold pressed oil. That means it should be of organic origin, no pesticides used. It should be virgin, that means no chemical should be used for treating it, and cold press, that means no heat is applied. When it is untreated with chemical and heat, that means all the nutrients are intact and it becomes beneficial for the body. So if you don't get cold press, then secondly, we can look at organic, virgin, unrefined oil. Unrefined oil also becomes better, but the thing is it is slightly treated with heat. That's why the cold press ones are much more healthier as compared to unrefined. Unrefined is you should never use it because it just creates more havoc in the body. So that's about the different types of oils.
You also get wood churned oil, which is one of the healthier oils. So they don't use heat, but it's churned with wood basically. And that's also another oil which you really can use. Today, most of your mustard oils, your coconut oils can be made with a wood churning process as well. So basically you want to keep away from heat. If you ever look, let me give you a simple example of a coconut oil. Okay, a pure coconut oil will be white in color. A refined coconut oil will be yellow in color and it tastes different and it will smell different. So a lot of people, when we tell them to have cold pressed coconut oil, they say, oh, we don't like the smell. And we tell them, no, you're using refined coconut oil because it's treated with a lot of heat. The smell of the coconut is very distinct. But when you look at a cold pressed coconut oil, it'll be white, it'll be pure white, and it'll be way thinner than a refined oil. So that's another way of checking out the quality of your oil. Plus, what happens is, okay, so Deepika, let's move to the second question. So in India, okay, a lot of people for the longest time have been fooled by marketing ads to use olive oil for cooking Indian food. And we know that's the worst thing, even worse than a refined oil, because olive oil has a very low smoking point. And in India, we cook our food, we cook it a lot. So that means the smoking point of the oil has to be higher. Because if you're cooking something in olive oil and it smokes, you can just think of the amount of oxidative damage it is doing within you. So how do we, what can we use olive oil for, extra virgin olive oil? And what are the top oils across our country, the fat mediums that you would encourage our people to use?
Okay, so you basically started with smoke point. So people who don't know what exactly smoke point is the temperature wherein your oil starts burning or giving out smoke. Okay, if you heat the oil over and above its smoke point, that means you are denaturing all the nutrients that are present in that particular oil. Plus, you are adding burnt flavor to the food. Secondly, you're also adding free radicals to the food in which that is cooked in that particular oil. So too much of free radical means you are adding more of oxidative stress in the body. It is just going to create more damage and make you unhealthy. So if you are having olive oil and using it for Indian cooking, it's not really recommended, because if you check olive oil, its smoke point is just 160 degrees Celsius. And when we cook Indian food, we cook it for longer time. In India, we generally cook food for longer time, till all the aroma gets instilled into the food and the food really becomes tasty. It's not like just stir frying it for 2 minutes and then removing it in the plate. We almost cook it for 15-20 minutes. Like one sabzi is cooked for 15 to 20 minutes till you get the aroma, until you get that complete flavor of all the spices intact. But when you cook olive oil for such long time, that means you're heating it below over its smoke point. So its smoke point is 160. The moment you're heating it above 160 degrees Celsius, that means you are denaturing all of its nutrients. It has many antioxidants, but after it gets heated over and above 160 degrees Celsius, all the antioxidants get lost. And what is remained is just oxidative stress, free radicals basically, that is getting imparted into the food. And plus its vitamin E and other nutrition as well gets removed from the oil. So that's why.
So we can use olive oil for salads, basically. We can use it for very light sautés or very, very light cooking where it doesn't smoke. Extra virgin oil can be added raw to salads as well, or as a garnish on soup. So that's great. What about the oils for India, Deepika? What are the oils that we should use for Indian food? Because there are different states in India. Some of them use mustard, some of them use peanut. So can you tell us about that, please?
So I would start with ghee. Organic A2 ghee that we get from Desi cow is the longest used in India. It's been used since thousands of years, and it has been used for as a therapeutic thing as well. So that's why we have to first look at ghee, because all over India, be it south, west, north, or east, each and every person uses ghee in their routine. Oil might change, but ghee doesn't change. So every person might apply ghee on their roti or cook their dals in the ghee. So ghee is the first preference. A2, organic A2 ghee is the first preference. Then we can look at coconut oil. Mostly coconut oil is used in the south region, but it has lauric acid and other different acids which really helps in reducing the inflammation in the body. It has MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, which also reduces inflammation in the body, heals our body. It has anti-carcinogenic effect as well in the body. So it becomes really helpful and healthy. Nowadays, because the coconut oil is gaining so much of popularity, people from north or even other parts of India are using coconut oil. So it's a good choice of coconut oil. But the smoke point of coconut oil is 177 degrees Celsius. So when you talk about smoke point, for example, if you're using anything for frying, its smoke point should be over and above 200 degrees Celsius. So coconut oil as well is not that ideal for frying. You can use it for shallow frying because here in South, people use it for shallow frying the fish or a chicken. So it can be used for shallow frying, but it can't be used for deep frying. When you talk about ghee, ghee's smoke point is almost about 250 degrees Celsius, which is really high. So ghee also becomes a best medium for frying. And mostly in India, sweets like gulab jamun, jalebi, ghevar, etc. are fried in ghee because ghee again imparts a very nice taste to any particular dish that it is made with. So ghee can be used for frying. Coconut oil can be used for shallow frying. The third oil that I would like to talk about is mustard oil. It is mostly used in North region. Mustard oil has a smoke point of almost 248 degrees Celsius. It is really good for heart. It has a good balance of omega-3 is to omega-6. So it also helps in reducing inflammation in the body. And research also indicates that mustard oil also has anti-carcinogenic properties. So it becomes healthy for our body. Now you can't really fry anything in mustard oil, though its temperature is really high, like 248 degrees Celsius smoke point. But the taste of mustard oil is very distinct and it has a very pungent taste. So if you fry anything into it, the taste might just go weird. So when you see in North, people really heat the oil till the time it starts smoking, particularly the mustard oil. So if they are giving tadka to their dal, they heat the oil to an extent where they start seeing the smoke out of the oil, and then they add the tadka to it. So this is the way that you can use mustard oil in your cooking. You can heat it and then add your tadkas or sabzis into it for cooking purpose. After mustard oil, I would like to talk about sesame oil, because this is the most stable this is the most stable seed oil when it comes to oxidation. Its smoke point is 210 degrees Celsius. So even if it is heated, it doesn't undergo oxidation process. So it becomes helpful for our body. Again, it becomes anti-inflammatory in nature. It helps in preventing the plaque formation in the body. So people who are having high cholesterol issues can have sesame oil in moderation for sure. They should not overdo on any oil for that matter, because this oil helps and the antioxidant properties of this oil helps in improving the heart health basically. So sesame oil can be one of the option. And the last option that I would like to talk about is peanut oil or groundnut oil. Now, when you talk about groundnut oil, its smoke point is around 225 degrees Celsius. This is the best oil for frying. So if you can't use ghee for frying, you can definitely use groundnut oil for frying, not on a daily basis, but once in a while when you really want to have some fried stuff. So peanut oil can be used for frying purpose. And again, it helps in reducing inflammation in the body. It has anti-inflammatory properties and antioxidant properties that reduces free radicals from the body. So the 5 top oils that I would suggest is A2 ghee, coconut oil, mustard oil, sesame oil, and peanut or groundnut oil.
Okay, great, Deepika. Thanks. But there are also these fancy oils in the market: flaxseed oil, avocado oil, walnut oil. What about them? I know we can use flaxseed oil as a source of omega. That's great. Avocado oil has a high cooking point as well. A lot of people are using it for baking, and walnut oil as well. I think the rule should be it should be cold pressed, because the method of extracting the oil is where most of the damage happens, as Deepika rightly pointed out. So, and sometimes, so I think it's very important for people to look out for cold pressed or wood churned or unrefined or raw oil. It's extremely important that we do that, because again, Deepika mentioned a lot about free radicals and oxidation in the body. That's exactly what creates inflammation. Your next question will be, what is inflammation? Think of any disease which is considered inflammatory: cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. All of these, a lot of autoimmune conditions are also inflammatory. They are created by a lot of inflammation in the body. And it is this that causes inflammation: the kind of food you eat, processed, sugar, oil, all of these things together. Even putting on weight, refined oil, the more inflammation you have in your body, the more difficult it is for you to lose weight. And why we're stressing on this, it may be a small thing for everyone, but you're using oil every day. If you're having 3 meals in a day, you're using oil thrice a day. So multiply that into a week, into months, into years. So that's why we say refined oil is like slow poison to the body. You may not get sick right now, maybe not in the next 1 year, but over time, this inflammation builds up and it creates a very, very big problem. So currently we are, and the government is working very, very strongly with farmers to try to make cold pressed oils cheaper in the market so that it can actually be used as a household oil. And people can move away from these refined oils and all of that stuff to something which is way more better. Deepika, I have one last question for you. A lot of people say that you got to mix your oils and change the oils. You can't just have pure ghee. You shouldn't just have one oil because of the polyunsaturated fatty acids, the monounsaturated fatty acids. So what's your advice to keep a balance in people's diets? How would you balance your oils?
What I do at my place is I keep changing my oil every month so that the body also doesn't get accustomed to it and doesn't start producing plaque. So for 1 month, I'll use coconut oil. The next month, I'll start using cold pressed groundnut oil. But in between, I definitely try and have ghee in my cooking, or I use mustard oil because mustard oil and ghee really goes well with dal. So if you're preparing dal on a regular basis, ghee or mustard oil is the thing that you can use for making your dal because it really gives a good taste to your dals.
Absolutely.
You can
Right.
change oils, and at the same time you can keep certain oils intact into your routine, like ghee and mustard oil can be done on a daily basis but in moderation. And every month you can try and change your oil from coconut, sesame oil, groundnut oil, to even mustard oil. If you want to use it for all your meal, you can try and do that so that your body doesn't get accustomed to one particular oil.
Fantastic, Deepika. And I know a lot of you are worried about oil as a fat. Let me tell you one thing. There are good fats and bad fats, good oils and bad oils. We've seen, I think, thousands of women and men who have gone off oil completely. They do oil-free cooking and they may lose a little weight, but their skin changes, their hair falls out, they have hormonal imbalances. You need to understand that your hormones require fat in the body. I'm not talking about the fat that you want to lose. I'm talking about good fats like oils. They use fats to produce certain hormones in the human body. So that if you don't have the right amount of fat through the right mediums in your body, a lot of people have skin issues, hair issues, metabolic issues, and all of that stuff. So oil isn't bad for you. What is important is the quality and the quantity. If you overdo any oil, even if it's pure ghee and we know it's good, but you go on having ghee throughout the day, you're going to have problems. Too much of anything is bad for you, whether it's good or whether it's bad. So don't be scared of that. The second fear people have is about saturated fat. Coconut oil and pure ghee are saturated fats. Saturated fats for the longest time have been completely like demonized by the Western cultures and all of that stuff because it's all the oil lobbies at the end of the day. They wanted to sell India olive oil. So they made all our oils, which we've spoken about, the oils we spoke about today has always existed in India. We're coming back to it now because we realized that they've pushed olive oil into an Indian market and we saw more spikes in inflammatory diseases post that. So we need to understand that saturated fats, the West has been saying it for the longest time, but today they're taking it back. Today, what's the superfood in the West? Coconut oil, pure ghee. So saturated fats are necessary for the human body. You overdo it, you're gonna have problems. You do it the wrong quality, like you do refined saturated fats, that's a big, big problem for your heart, inflammation, cholesterol, your brain and everything else. So always quality, quantity, and go back to your roots. So if you live in North India and you love mustard oil, go ahead and use it. Try to rotate your oils, add a little bit of olive oil on your salad if you want, or you can have a little bit of pure ghee like Deepika said. If you're in the South and you have coconut oil, try to mix and match. Sesame oil is an oil that all of us can use once in a way because a lot of us like Chinese food and you can use sesame oil to cook Chinese food. So the idea is mix it so you get diversity of everything. Deepika, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate all of your time and your advice. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.